The fourth one from here.
I want to know, are you the lady of the day tomorrow? I read your blog.
Whoops. Oh, you got one? Thank you. I pull off my ear in the process.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom, everybody.
shalom.
We're on page 129.
Ma tov u'manayim shevet kulam gam yachad. Hine 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 ma tov u'manayim shevet kulam gam yachad.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
What a great thing that is to welcome Shabbat. Chris, I don't know what happened with the volume of the guitar, but it went up in a way that I cannot control it. I'm afraid that people will die from that. So if you can give me control back, it will be great. We want to keep the community safe, and sometimes it's by having control over the volume of the guitar. So it is common to think of Shabbat as a gift that comes from the heart. And maybe as a gift that we take from our hearts to ourselves, you can find the words of Elhamda Levi at the bottom of page 129.
In the blue brackets.
Elhamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem. The beginning. Elhamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem Elhamda Hamda Levi Behusana ve'ana titalem. We will now invite Michelle to lead us in lighting Shabbat candles. Not surprises, Michelle. You can follow her. Emma, you can join. Also, you can stand next to Mom. You can follow them on page 122.
No, 120.
121.
121. 120, actually.
First, we light the candles.
Oh, see, there you go.
We light the candles. And once they're lit, we can close our eyes. Baruch, go.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'chol l'kner
Shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. May this Shabbat and all the celebrations of this Shabbat bring light to our lives and to our world. We will now turn our Sidurim to page 130 for Lehun Ranena.
Lechun eranena Ladonai Nariya Litzur Yishenu Nekadma Fanav Betoda Bizmirot Nariya Lo Nekadma Fanav Betoda Bizmirot Nariya Lo.
Next page.
Shiru Ladonai Shir Hadash Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Ladonai Baruchu Shemo Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato Sabru bagoyim Kevodo lechol ha'amim nifleotav. These words are really easy. Yai, lai, 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 lai.
We're on page 132. Adonai malach tagel haaretz, ישמחו איהים רבים, אור שרו על הצדיק, ולשרי לב שמחה. A light is shown to the righteous, and for those seekers of connection, for those that are carriers of goodwill, there's a foundation of joy. On page 133, מזמור שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה. Shabbat is an invitation to recognize the wonders that we experience in our routines, in our lives. Each poem, each psalm is a step in a stairway that invites us to enter in a palace in time, a different dimension in which we prioritize things that sometimes we pay a bit less attention to them. We prioritize the things that make us feel connected to our own life, to our souls, and to each other. As we turn our Siurim to page 134, I invite you to think for a moment about what are the things that you are carrying in this Shabbat that make you feel a bit heavy. Recognize them, think of them for a moment, and put them aside. Choose to focus on what will help you create this palace on time, this sanctuary. Page 134, Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, v'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu לפני המלך אדוני. יום היום ומלואו, תבל ויושבבה, נהרות עמך וכף, עד יחד הרים ירננו. לפני אדוני יבוא, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים. יום היום ומלואו, תבל ויושבבה, נהרות עמך וכף, אף יחד הרים ירננו. יחד הרים ירננו.
Page 136, Psalm 29. In many congregations, it is a custom to rise for this psalm. We invite you to find this uplifting force not on your legs, but in your spirit at this point. Page 136, Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei lim, Havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai be'ad ha'kodesh, kol Adonai על המים, אל
halal kavod irim Adonai al ma'im ravim hay rai rai hay rai 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 yara rai 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 yara rai 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 yara rai 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 yara rai 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 And with this energy, we turn our Sidurim to page 138. For Lechadodi, we think of Shabbat as a bride, as a majestic presence. So we invite you to try to visualize what a majestic presence is for you. And with that image, try to come to the encounter, Lechadodi Likrat Kala, to the encounter of what's sacred in your life. We as Shir Hadash sing the first, the second, the fifth, the sixth, and the ninth verses of Lechadodi. And in the ninth one, we will invite you to rise and to turn toward the doors of our synagogue so we can welcome that presence in this room, in our midst. Lechadodi likrat kala ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavla Lechadodi likrat kala ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavla
Shamo v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lechadodi likrat kala ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavla Lechadodi likrat kala ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekavla
לקראת שבת, לכו ונהלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מכרם נסוכם, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. היי לי לי, לך דודי, לקראת כלה. יאללה לה 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 לה, פני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה. יאללה לה 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 לה, פני שבת מקבלה. יאללה לה לה יאללה לה יאללה לה יאללה לה, פני שבת מקבלה. היי היי היי, לך דודי, לקראת כלה. יאללה לה יאללה לה יאללה לה,
פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורק קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה. יאללה לה יאללה לה יאללה לה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה. יאללה לה יאללה לה יאללה לה, פני שבת נקבלה.
לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, אך יחסו עניי ימי, ונבנתה היא תפילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בלם, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Now that we have welcome Shabbat, it is our tradition to take a moment to welcome each other. We encourage you to move around the room and to go and say each other Shabbat Shalom. And if you recognize a face that you haven't met so far,
Shabbat Shalom.
Sachi is standing there. You need to make sure that you say Shalom to Sachi. Shabbat. Alai, lai, 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 lai. Alai, lai, 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 lai. Alai, lai, 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 lai. Alai, lai, 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 lai.
בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Shabbat Shalom, mother. Very nice to meet you. Shabbat Shalom, Mevorach. Welcome.
Welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yonina. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. We will now invite you to please be seated as we continue with our service.
Shir, Shir Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor 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 Shir. Shir Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Shir Yom HaShabbat.
On page 140.
Mizmor Shir,
Page 140.
Shir Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Shir Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir. Shir Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Shir Yom HaShabbat.
On page 140.
Mizmor Shir, Shir Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor, mizmor, shir. Shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor, mizmor, shir. Shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor, shir. Shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor, shir. Shir leyom hashabat.
Page 144, Chetzi Kaddish.
So grab the microphone. Make sure it's on.
All this suspense is for Emma to lead us in Chetzi Kaddish, which is the prayer that will help us transition from Kabbalat Shabbat to Ma'ariv Shel Shabbat. Here we go.
Amen. Bechayechon uvyomechon uvchayedecho Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv.
Himru
Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, le'alam ulam mehamaya yitbarach. Brichu.
Allah min ko birta v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran ve'alma.
Ve'imeru
Amen.
We turn our Siddurim to page 146 for Baruch. Please rise. And we will turn toward Jerusalem, which is in that direction. Baruch is the blessing that opens the section of the Shema. And as we step closer to say that God is one, we first recognize the diversity of our community. For Baruch, you need a minyan, you need a group of 10. You need to be able to recognize that you are not alone. And from that place in which we recognize the diversity, the beauty, the multiplicity of our community, is that we can say that God is one.
Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vahen.
I may be seated. Yadalai, lai, lai, lai. Yadalai, lai, 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 lai. Yadalai, lai, lai. Yadalai, lai, lai, yadalai. Yadalai, lai, lai, lai. Yadalai, lai, lai, lai. Yadalai, lai, lai. I'm about to read together in English on page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, pulling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzebaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, המעריב, ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. Everlasting love you offer your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. It is a custom, it is our tradition to think about love before reciting the Shema, to think about a source of everlasting love. And as we get closer to the Shema, I'd like to invite you for one moment to close your eyes and to try to picture what that love looks like for you. For some, it might have the form of a place in nature, a landscape, an aroma. For some, it might be the smile of a beloved person, a memory, a place in the world. Try to recognize the source of love for you. And as you recognize that love, let that love become a light and embrace you, surround you as a talit, a prayer shawl. Let that talit hold your body, sit well in your chair, and try to dedicate a moment of attention to your breath. And as you breathe, take in that light, that love that surrounds you and at the same time comes from within you. And try to recognize the energies, the objects that you are carrying that don't belong to you. And as you exhale, let them go. Breathe in and out. And as you breathe, we fill our hearts in this Shabbat with light, with love. And once again, I invite you to take a deep breath. And become one. Be'avatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Dear God, please never remove your love from us. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Israel. We're on page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת בונה כל סוד וקיים עלינו כי אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו ואנחנו ישראל עמו. We continue with the silent reading over page 156. When your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices with joy. Who is like you, O God? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. We are on page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם, נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם, אלי מלכותך, ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. צאלי ענו ואמרו, Adonai, מלכותך, ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. צאלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני נמלוך לעולם בהן.
ונאמר כי פרעון את יעקב, כי לא מיד חסק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. That it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. I'm sorry, Cantor, I didn't notice. One day you understand, Sharon, about missing clues. But you know, it's a great moment to talk about love.
Absolutely.
Right? So on page 161, you know, prayer works in that place of trying to recognize our obliviousness to certain things, right? That's why we pray. We pray so we are not oblivious. We say words that sometimes don't necessarily fit, you know, what we are thinking about, and we try to rationalize with it, to think with them as we say them, and we ask to find the strength to overcome obstacles, as we just sang in Mi Chamocha, and we try to find internal peace as we recite the blessing for us to become shelters of peace, Hashkiveinu, and we try to find love to be the foundation of that peace, of that connection. We're on page 161.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, לשלום. והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך.
השכיבנו,
אדוני אלוהינו,
אלוהינו,
השכיבנו לשלום. Let there be love.
Pray with us.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, Adonai. The shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over your holy city, the city of Shalom, ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. It is a covenant, it is a brit, to keep Shabbat as a part of our lives, and as we say every single week, to let Shabbat keep us alive. Help us find breath, have this opportunity to celebrate time and our lives. We will now turn our Sidurim to page 164 for Tfilat Amidah. We invite you to rise and to turn toward Yerushalayim. And as you go along with the Sidur, you can follow the millennia-old words of our Sidur, or alternatively, try to find your own words, your Tfilah Shevalev. Adonai,
שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your
Continue in
praise.
silence. אתה הקדוש, יש לך קדוש, וקדיש יש כוסה לברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. אתה הקדוש, תהיה משביעי למשך. רצון, אלוהינו לך ישראל ותפילתם תקבל, ותהיה רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך, אל קרוב לכל גדול, מודים אנחנו לך, שאדון אלוהינו ולאבותינו לעם בהם, צורך חיינו. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל באמרו אמן. The one who makes peace. Help us make peace. And let us say amen. We will now turn our study to page 371 as at this point of our service we take a moment to acknowledge beloved people dealing with illness in their bodies, in their souls. We acknowledge those carrying grief, and we think of those that are dealing with addictions. If there is a name that you'd like to share in this set of Shabbat, we invite you to do so as we go around the room. Just can say the name. Diane.
Richard Kennemer, Jack Long, Don Gringorton, Bruce Roberts, Stuart Mass, Alfreda Massman, Diane Siegel, Jill Becker, Gail Frankel, Scott Van Gundy, Ed Stein, Debbie Pink, Mira Engel, Pearl Sandelman, Jill Jacknow, Dave Stahl, Greg Herb, Ellen Herb, Michelle Winner, Murray Siegel, Denise Springle, Ron Victor, Lonnie Goldman, Richard Ravitch, former member of Shir Hadash, Bernice Paris, mother of Carol Paris, Adam Kaufman, Ian Ballard, friend of Allison Turner, Franklin Wolfson, son-in-law of Susan Deniston, Varda Sachi, mother of Nava Bernstein.
On page 371.
Kol havracha leimotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor havracha bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Wish to all of them, to all of you, to all of us, refuah shlema, a complete recovery, and let us say Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. So, this week we read the Parashat Vayera. Vayera means, come on, friends. 30% of you know. Okay, Vayera means, the way in which we translate that to English is it appear or show up. How would you translate that, Emma? Okay, that's good. It's important. For a Torah scholar to say, I don't know, you'll hear lots of things that she knows tomorrow. But also the word Vayera is connected to the word ligot, to see. And as we were discussing over the last couple of weeks,
it's not only about seeing with our eyes, it's about noticing certain things. Says the Torah, וידבר משה כן אל בני ישראל, ולא שמעו אל משה, מקוצר רוח ומעבודה קשה. But when Moses told this to the Israelites, Moses was in a kind of conversation with God in the burning bush. For those that that missed the last chapter, Moses is shepherding and his flock, and all of a sudden is called by a bush. He goes to a bush, and there is God, and they have a conversation. He removes his shoes because he's in holy ground. And they start this conversation, and he becomes pretty much a prophet in that moment. And now he's coming back with a message. And it doesn't go that well. Nobody's listening to him. And the reason they are not listening to him, well, the Torah gives two reasons. מקוצר רוח ומעבודה קשה. Now, number two, they were slaves. עבודה קשה, hard work. Okay, so because they were working hard, they didn't listen. And the other one is קוצר רוח. What's the meaning of קוצר רוח? קוצר רוח, well, it could be also that they were a bit agitated, that they were working very hard, they didn't have any breath. In modern Hebrew, קוצר רוח means something else. What does it mean in modern Hebrew, Sachi? They didn't have any patience for that. They didn't have any, welcome to Shir Hadash, we'll talk about that later. So, they didn't have any patience to listen to Moses. Moses is coming from God knows where to bring them a message, and these people don't have any patience. They're working really hard. And I want to suggest that this kotzer ruach, this lack of patience, is a state of mind. And I want to explore that idea for a second. Where are they slaved? In which land? What's the name of the land? Egypt. How do you say Egypt in Hebrew? Mitzrayim. That comes from what word? Sar, narrowness. They are the slaves of the land of narrowness. And they work for whom? For Pharaoh, who is what? Is stubborn. That's how the Torah describes him. And is deceitful. And he is the king of narrowness. So they are slaves in the land of narrowness under the oppression of the king of narrowness. And what a surprise. They have no patience. They have no space to listen to anything, to get any new information. And the question is, how will they be able to listen to new information, to this message that will eventually help them move from oppression to redemption? Viktor Frankl, in Man's Search for Meaning, writes, "One day, a few days after the liberation, I walked through the country past flowering meadows for miles and miles towards the market near the camp. Larks rose to the sky, and I could hear their joyous song." He's a Shoah survivor, a Holocaust survivor. "There was no one to be seen for miles around. There was nothing but the wide," and listen to this word, wide, as opposed to narrowness, the wide earth, and sky, and the lark's jubilation, and the freedom of space. I stopped, looked around, and up to the sky, and then I went down on my knees. At that moment, there was very little I knew of myself or of the world. I had one, you can hear the children in freedom. Let's go back to Frankel. I had but one sentence in mind, always the same. I call to the Lord, to the source of life, from my narrow prison, and he answered me in the freedom of space, which is the statement of the psalmist. מן המצר קראתי יה, ענני במרחב יה. How long I knelt there and repeated this sentence, memory can no longer recall, says Frankel. But I know that on that day, in that hour, my new life started. Step for step, I progressed until I again became a human being. Now, Frankel was released from a concentration camp. So it was kind of clear that he was in a different place. But the question is, how do we make this transition when we look around and we recognize that we are still in Egypt, in the land of narrowness? We are not in a new place. We are asking for that space, but we recognize that we are in the same place. A few days ago, I came upon an article in the HuffPost titled, I have just months to live. Instead of making a bucket list, here's what I am doing before I go. I see that some of you have read the article. Thinking about my son, says the writer, left me heartbroken. I knew I wouldn't be able to dance at his wedding. I probably wouldn't even see him graduating from college. This article was written by a doctor whose name is David Mears. And he tells the story of how when his child, Abe, was 5 years old, he started to learn how to knit with his wife. And one day, his child invited him to participate. And they started knitting together. And for years, he became a better knitter, but a very slow one. A couple of months ago, 20 years later, a couple of months ago, he learned that he had a terminal illness and very little time to live. And he started thinking about what's going to be his legacy. And he wanted to leave to his child, Abe, a sweater. But he was a very slow knitter, and he realized that he wasn't going to be able to do that. So he decided to, instead of making that sweater, he was going to make dish clothes for all those that were helping him. So he started doing that work, and a round of chemo went by. He was clean, and his wife and he participated in a reunion of knitters. Turns out that there's an entire world of knitters. I never knew. In a reunion of knitters in a brewery in the area of Washington, D.C. And there was some mingling during this gathering, and his wife was taking 2 beers, and he started chatting with a woman, and he told her his story, and she said to him, I have this incredible yarn, and I would like you to use it to make the sweater for your child. And he said, no, I'm such a slow knitter, there's no chance I can make it. I don't have enough time. I'm going to be gone before. And she says, but this is a very special yarn. I have been keeping this for a special person. I want you to have it. And the only thing I need you to do, promise me that you'll get started, that you'll try. You don't have to make it, but just promise me that you'll get started. This is how the article ends. I finished much of the sweater, before my cancer became active again in this past summer. I had to put it down when I underwent a second brain surgery and another round of radiation. I am knitting again now, but at the end of the day, I am often fatigued. Tremors in my hands make it hard to manipulate the knitting needles. Nevertheless, I am slowly making progress, and the sweater is nearly complete. My goal is to finish it and present it to Abe when he comes home for the holidays. If I am unable, this is so powerful, if I am unable to finish it, I am confident he can knit the final stitches himself. Either way, he will know that my love for him helped me learn to live fully, even while dying. And I will add, even when you are in the most narrow place in the world, even when you are in the land of narrowness. So I was very curious. And he mentions in the article that his wife is also a writer. Google her. Found her Twitter. There's a happy end to this story. And it's that he finished the sweater, and when Abe came home for Hanukkah, he was able to present the sweater to his child. But that's not the story that I want to explore. The story I want to explore is how do we move from the land of narrowness when the only thing that you can see around is the land of narrowness. How do we transition from oppression to redemption? How do we move from anguish, uncertainty, and narrowness to the land of mindfulness, joy, and expansion? I want to share with you 4 ideas and a 5th bonus track that came to me later. Let's recognize our own kotzer ruach, our own mindset, the mindset that is helping us stay and survive in the land of narrowness, but at the same time is promising that we stay there. Second, visualize the promised land. Think of your sweater. Number 3, commit. Promise that you will try. And number 4, do. Make sure that you need the first knot, because otherwise nothing is going to happen. And the last one, which is the bonus track, make sure that there is someone else who knows how to knit. So you are not alone, and you can share the journey with people that love you. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue our service on page 586 with Aleinu Leshabeach. We will invite our children to come all the way to the ark and to open the ark. So if you're under the age of 13, we invite you to come in. But wait. We're going to wait. Everybody come in. Yeah, it's messy here. Come. And now please rise. We're going to open the ark. Open the ark? Where's Jared? And now, yes. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol,
לתת גאולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, בגורלנו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרוב השמיים ממעל, ושכינתו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Now, yes, we will close the ark very, very gently. Oh, that was very gentle. Thank you very much. You may be seated. At this point of our service, we take a moment to acknowledge and recognize mourners. If you are doing the first 7 days of mourning, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. If you are doing the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, please rise and share with us who you're remembering, please. Alan. Who? Thank you very much. If you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. Steve. If you have a yahrzeit this week, the anniversary of someone's passing by this time of the year, in years past, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. Batya, Bat Sarah, I'm remembering our congregation.
Shlomo Isips, Howard Levine, Barbara Lombard, Claire London, Drago Herman, Merle Greenwald, Samuel Grinwald, Anita Kumula, Bryce Lyon, Edna Stone, Miriam Davis, Lauren Janovich, Janet Wohl, Charlene Kilgore, Ezra Sachi, Gideon Hofer, Alvin Kramer Siegel, Velasta Vijanovich, Galina Butorino, Karen Imbalzano, Lillian Berman, Robert Bruce Myers, Abraham Karras, Scott Safadi, Norman Green, Marilyn Silverman, Leslie Heinall, Paulette Sofin, David Green, Jeannie Porish, Estelle Abrams, Spencer Caney, Arthur Cherdak, John Ivers, Marilyn Handelman, Kay Damron, Nira Marome, Andrea Cameron, Ziba Feruzin, Rosella Newton, Linda Sherry, Fred DeCastro, Sherry Skihan, Larry Eisen, Harry Gross, Michael Taub, David Schwartz, Rhoda Fryman, Elliot Foner Lipsitz, Ron Wolk, Adina Neer, Tamara Noten, Bill Davidson, Elaine Chortek, Emmeline Scher, Gloria Baker, Murray Levitt, Kelly Leff, Richard Markel, Shalom Saluki. And you can support our community by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices or your hearts for Kaddish Avilim, the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598.
יתגדל ויתקדש
שמי רבה, בעלמא דיברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקדושה בריחו. אלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן.
יש למה רבה מן שמיים, וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל,
ואמרו אמן.
May the memories of your dear ones, of our beloved ones, be always a blessing in our lives. יהיה זכרם ברוך. You may be seated.
Trista will give us a few brief announcements.
I will have a microphone for you, Trista.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
I'm going to highlight just a few announcements, and you can see all of them on the back of your handout. You can also find all of our events on our website calendar. On Saturday, January 20th at 9:30 a.m., we'll have Torah study in the chapel. Shabbat morning services will follow at 10:30 a.m. as Emma Wyman is called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah.
Woo!
On
Cheers, dear.
Wednesday, January 25th at 6:30 p.m., we'll have new song Sing Along. Come learn new Shabbat songs. Register on the website. Looking ahead, on Friday, February 3rd at 6:15 p.m., we have Shabbat Shira with our choir. Friday and Saturday, February 10th and 11th, we have our scholar in residence. I have not.
Rabbi Shmuley Yankelovich.
Thank you very much. On Sunday, February 12th,
And I have something that you have Daniel Levine there
I
already?
do.
Oh, perfect. Oh, so impressive. No.
Well, on Sunday, February 12th, come join us for Rabbi Daniel Levine, J Life, Israel and Anti-Semitism for Teens. Also on February 12th at 3 p.m., join us for the Shulper Bowl, where we will be watching I can't say it, Gretchen, I know, I'm working on it. We'll be watching the Super Bowl at Shul in the sanctuary. So please join us. It will be a very fun afternoon. The suspense is killing us all. Friday and Saturday, February 24th and 25th, Shabbat worship workshop during Shabbat services. Thank you so much. Shabbat
Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom. Mevorach. We'll invite Jamie now to lead us in Kiddush that you can find on page 122. We invite you to please rise. Of course. ויחולו השמיים בארץ בכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו כבו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי וחברותיי, you can say לחיים everybody.
לחיים.
You go.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei peri hagafen Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu B'shabbat kodsho Be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'achata Be'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim B'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon Inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
לחיים.
L'chaim, and we make sure that nobody leaves this space without sharing and receiving a blessing. We invite you to
stand next to someone you know, and if you are on your own, make sure that you're standing next to someone that you don't know. And if you recognize that people are standing alone, let's make sure that we extend our families. If this is your first time at Shir Hadash, we welcome you. Welcome Sachi, and you don't know, Anne? Corinne. Sachi and Corinne, the first time coming. Sachi is the new manager of our Yavne school here in Los Gatos. Baruch haba. Make sure that we connect with each other as we share blessings that we have been carrying from generation to generation. The millennial words of our people that have been an expression of the love of legacies and generations. We say, Esimchem Elohim, Kefraim, Bekemenashe, Kesara, Rivka, Rachel, Belea. May God inspire you to be like the loving parents of Israel. And we say to everybody, Yebrechechem Adonai, Beish Merechem. May God bless you and protect you. Yair Adonai panav elechem bichunekem. May God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. Isa Adonai panav elechem. May you find within you God's presence always, and may you find the strength to move from narrow places to expansion. May you find the strength to resolve, to rethink. And may you find shalom, internal peace, which is the most beautiful gift that God can give you. V'yasem lachem, v'yasem lanu, shalom. Adonai os le'amav iten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Shabbat shalom everybody. Shabbat shalom mevorach. Shalom
Rahav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom rahav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom rahav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. B'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol eitz u'b'chol shab b'shlomecha. Rahav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom rahav